We highlight games for the upcoming season or for the upcoming weekend. We tell you who we think is going to be the winner. Let me bring in Trey Mitchell, my partner from the past couple of years, and also my son. Trey, welcome back for another year as we're about to kick off the 2022 season.
Hey, glad to be back. Ready for some football to start. It's been a long winter and spring, and ready for football.
Right, Trey, we're going to add a little twist this year, and maybe people are tired of seeing Mitchell Square, so we're going to bring in a new guest picker each week. And this week it's Marty Sheehan from the Delaware High School Football Podcast. Marty, welcome to Delaware Live Sports.
Thanks. I was glad to get the invitation from you guys. I watch the show every week, watch you guys make your picks, which is really educational because you don't get a ton of news about the downstate teams. Right. So I tend to get that from you and Trey. So that really helps out during the season.
Well, we're going to mix it up a little bit this year because we're going to test our upstate knowledge a little bit, and you're going to help us with that. So let's get into game number one. Thursday night, 7 o'clock, the Cape and Logan Vikings are headed to play number 6 Salesianum at Abyssinia. And Cape and Logan, first-year head coach Mike Frederick, this is a tough way to start his career here in Delaware. He brings a team that he's rebuilding, but he does have some playmakers into a huge, storied stadium, be it Abyssinia or Baynard. Abyssinia, I haven't been there yet, just seen it on video. It rivals Division III college stadiums. So, you're going to bring this team up in there. It's a storied program. The Notre Dame-like uniforms and helmets, and they're coming in with over 150 athletes on that football program at Salesianum. And I think Sally's is going to look to prove they are better than our number 6 ranking. Salesianum wins here to kick off 2022. Marty, what do you got?
I'm with you. I think this is such a difficult task. First of all, you take this young squad of Cape kids, you stick them on a bus for 2.5 hours, depending upon traffic. Then Sally's is in school, so Abyssinia most likely is going to be packed and rocking. I really hope a lot of the Cape fans can make the trip, but it's such a tough one. You have Sally's running the spread offense. You have a lot of Cape kids that are doing things for the first time. They do return Thomas Messick, the second-team all-district wide receiver and first-team cornerback. So this is a program, they've been in decline, 1137 since 2016. Frederick brings NFL experience, which is going to be interesting to see how, if he can get those kids to buy in and bring the numbers up at Cape Henlopen. Sally's, I think, to your point, Benny, I think they're going to try to prove they're better than everybody thinks. They had a 28-6 lead last year. They let that slide down to 28-20 and had to kind of fight off Cape at the end. I think this one, I agree with you. We talked off air a little bit. I think Sally's runs away with this one by the fourth quarter.
Trey Mitchell, what say you?
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. I think it's just a tough week one matchup for Cape. I know they had a tough year last year. They got a new head coach. I'm sure he's doing good things there. Like you said, he's got some playmakers. They're going to have a solid year, but this is just not a great for week one matchup. So I got to go with Sally's here.
Let's move to the second game on Thursday. Actually, it's going to be the first game on Thursday. 4 o'clock start. Caesar Rodney at Hodgson. Okay, I really have struggled where to go with this game. Hodgson is looking to rebound from last season's 2-8 record, and it's Frank Moffitt's farewell tour. Longtime coach there at Hodgson, but he's a Caesar Rodney guy. Don't forget that, right? The Riders, they only averaged 5.5 points a game last year. So they have a lot of area to improve. Coming off an 0-11 campaign, CR still has great numbers out and a lot of excitement. I was down at their scrimmage at Sussex Tech, and guys, they were throwing the ball around the yard, quite a bit in that scrimmage. But the Riders, they're going to have to prove to me that they can win. The 4 p.m. start, does that take away the excitement that's being built up in the Caesar Rodney program? I mean, down here, Thursday afternoon, 4 o'clock is middle school games. So what kind of atmosphere and excitement can the Riders bring to bear? Give me Hodgson here. Marty.
I'm with you again on this one. I think this is, first of all, it's so bizarre. We open the season with a 4 p.m. kickoff. It's going to be, I imagine it's going to be fairly empty. I can't imagine too many CR fans being able to make that trip. Hopefully the Hodgson kids stay after school for the game, but I'll tell you one thing. I was shocked when I heard the numbers that Caesar Rodney brought out. Like you said, more than 140 kids.
Right.
Hodgson won this game 20-7 last year down at CR. It was 27 at halftime. It was kind of a grind all the way through. Both teams have lost some key pieces. Both teams are young in some key places. But I think the fact that this is Frank Moffitt's last year, I think there are still some high-level kids coming back in some key positions for Hodgson. The fact that it's at home and it's 4 p.m. when you never know what the atmosphere is going to be like. I like Hodgson in this one. I think CR is going to improve this year. It's tough to look at their schedule and find a win, to be honest with you, but right. I do think we're going to see an improved product on the field.
Well, Marty, if CR can just improve to more than a touchdown a game,
that's it. You're right.
They were in some games last year that were winnable. Trey, I know it's a tough one for you. You're in Rider country. What do you got?
I am deep in the Rider country, alumni, coach. I'm gonna have to stay home with this one. I gotta take my Riders.
I love it.
I think they're like you said, 0-11 last year. Probably left a bad taste in their mouth. They're improving. They're excited. A lot of numbers out. You know what? Why not us? Let's go Riders.
Rider pride, right?
Rider pride.
I love it.
Okay, let's go to 7 p.m. Friday. Number 2 Delaware Military Academy at Howard at Abyssinia Stadium. What a Class AA game to kick off the season. Rashawn Matthews, he's an exciting player to watch. And now he grows into his junior year. The Wildcats, to me, Marty, are the upstate version of Dover. They're going to have athletes. They're going to have talent. But we always have to wait and kind of see who they're loaded. I watched them at the scrimmage at Sussex Central early in camp. They went toe-to-toe with the Knights in Georgetown. And Sussex Central is a team I see as number 3 in AAA. Look, it's been a long 8 months for the Seahawks. I'm sure they left Abyssinia Stadium last year believing they could have been in that title game. They erased that bad memory of Abyssinia from last December. DMA gets the win.
This is going to be a fun game, and I agree. It's like DMA is becoming kind of like the Sallies and Smyrna of Delaware, where of the 2A division, where they just reload every year. They can lose players, but they're bringing them in hand over fist. I think with Howard, one of the things last year, everybody said, oh, they should be in 3A. Everybody said this was a shame. They're 2A. They're going to run away with it. And all year, Dan Ritter said, look, we're not the same team. We've got a lot of young guys on this team. And he was proven right. I mean, they started 4-1. This was the game that started the slide. They ended the season losing 4 or 5. Their only win in that time was an A forfeit win. Howard actually led this game 8-7 at halftime. And DMA pulled ahead 21-8. It looked like it was over. And then Howard came back. And I tell you what, Rashawn Matthews is one of the most exciting players in the state. You're talking about a way to start the season. I mean, Rashawn Matthews on one side, BJ Lean on the other side. I think we're going to get some highlight reel level plays out of this game. I think in the end, DMA wins this by about 10 points.
And our Northern crew's going to be covering that game on Friday night. Trey, DMA and Howard.
Hey, this is like you guys said, it's an exciting game. We've over the years gotten the pleasure of watching both teams, and they're both good programs, right? Howard, they can put some points on the board in a hurry. DMA can do the same. They can slow the game down. They've been a very complete program. I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be exciting, maybe even a little back and forth. But I'm going to agree with you guys that I think DMA comes out on top.
All right, let's move to Friday night, 7 p.m. Arundel at Dover. Year in and year out, the Senators are a mystery team. That's been going on for 30, 40 years. But Chip Knapp returning for his second season at one of the state's largest schools. The top guns better keep an eye on Dover this year. Arundel nipped the Senators last year, 28-27 over there in Maryland. Dover, Marty and Trey, they have track speed.
They do.
They have guys who fly. And on the home sprint turf, advantage Dover. The Senators get it done on Friday night.
I think you start with you talk about the track guys, Jaquan Kilby and John Parker. John Parker, the sophomore, can absolutely fly. I didn't see any quarterback in the state he couldn't beat last year. It's going to be exciting to see him progress, and the fact that you bring, the coach in from Wesley, it's so exciting to see what he's done down there. And I do think that he's going to have Dover as a power sometime soon. As you said, last year, Arundel won this game in overtime. It was so bizarre. They got off to a 14-0 lead. Dover went ahead 21-14 or 20-14. Then it got tied up at the end. There was a block extra point that went to overtime, and then Dover had it won 27-20. And on a 4th and 10 Hail Mary goal, a 4th and goal situation from the 10, Arundel hits it and then knocks in the 2-point conversion. Bang! There's the first loss of the season. But I do think Coach Knapp is going to have this team ready to go this year. They're not going to be snuck up on by anybody this year, nor are they going to sneak up on anybody because they were one of the hotter teams at the end of the season last year. I love Dover in this one.
Trey, your neighbors to the north. What about it?
Dover's always dangerous. They know how to put points on the board. Even in their down years, they're dangerous. They score. I think being at home to start the season, especially after losing to Arundel last year on a close one, a nail biter, I think they're going to get it done. I like Dover at home.
Let's move to Saturday, 1 o'clock. Number 3, Sussex Central at number 7, William Penn. Golden Knights go on the road for a downstate team, a rare afternoon game. We don't play a lot of afternoons down here. Remember the name Chris Shields come November, December. We'll be talking about him late in the season. He will be the Golden Knights' heartbeat. He's a running back, a linebacker, and I watched him in 2 scrimmages, and he's just a stud. He's another guy that when he breaks the second level, he finds track speed. He finds that next gear. And a linebacker, he's just been a force in the 2 scrimmages. 2 of William Penn's key returners, they're not there. Jacob Tiberi, he's on the Salesianum roster. Markel Holman's on the Smyrna roster. They were 2 big production guys for William Penn last year. I like the Knights' round game to win this one. If you've watched Sussex Central football, you know they can turn a 48-minute game in about, seems like 30. Can eat some clock up. I'm taking Sussex Central.
As much as I hate to say it, this is my first one that I come across that I think might be a running clock game. William Penn just lost so much, and when you add Tiberi and Holman, Holman was the 3A first-team All-State running back, first-class running back. The fact that he's at Smyrna now, just the rich getting richer down there, my goodness. William Penn is going to struggle to find an offensive identity early in the season. For Sussex Central, you said it, Chris Shields, Andrew Long is back at running back. They've got Kevon Moore Brittle, on the defensive end. And Abraham Leyva Fajaco is one of the best kickers in the state. I think Central rolls in this one, and they're going to get back in the mix as one of the top teams in the state this year.
Trey, the Golden Knights and the Colonials.
Yeah, I think I've been saying for a few years now that Sussex Central football, they're good at eating that clock, and they're going to pound that football down the field. They're going to run north. Keep running north. They're going to keep running north until they get to the end zone. They could get it. You make a good point. They could get to the running clock. They get a couple breakaways, and score quick. They have the ability to do that, and then they can also they can beat you by a touchdown just by 3-4 yards at a time and just controlling the clock and stuffing you on defense. So, yeah, I like Sussex Central here.
Well, when Sussex Central has won those 2 state titles, they've won it with defense, actually. And they have a pretty good defense again this year. So let's go to a game. By the way, the Northern Crew is going to also have that game on 302 Sports. Glenn Frazier is going to have the Dover Arundel game on Friday night. Let's get to a game we're going to do. I think this is a bit of a fun game we picked up on Friday night. Start. The number 5 Seaford Blue Jays in single A, they're headed over to America Corners, Colonel Richardson High School. Quillen has created a buzz in Seaford. He has brought in his energy to the Blue Jays. If you ever watched Quillen on the sidelines, we refer to him as the Energizer Bunny of Delaware high school coaches. That guy's in motion all the time, and he brings excitement to the game. They're going to spread it. He tells me. He said they're going to have fun this year. Colonel Richardson, they're the defending Bayside 1A champs. Coach James Jackson, he's got the kids buying in what he's selling. The Colonels they're big in the trenches, which could slow down Seaford a little bit. I think Seaford's ability to spread the field is going to be key in this game. I'm taking the Blue Jays. look for a close first half with the Seaford open up in the second half.
I love what Seaford's doing here, and I love what Coach Quillen is doing here. The fact that they're bringing up the numbers. When they changed to a 3 classification system on our podcast, I made no secret of the fact that I thought they were watering down the product. And then last year, I saw how it affected some of these schools. At Seaford, which, let's face it, Seaford was dead football-wise ever since the DuPont plant left. When they changed to this classification, and all of a sudden they're playing teams that they have a legitimate chance to hang with or beat, the excitement in that school, and Coach Quillen, as you said, he gets so excited talking about this team. I'd love to see what happened down there. The pep rallies are back. Cheerleaders are back. They're doing all kinds of great things. They've got some great speed. Kareem Bolden, Jazante Levon, Avion Matthews is a wide receiver who can fly. I like Seaford in this one well, more for the fact I don't know a ton about Colonel Richardson. I'm taking your. I saw that they were the defending champs. I think Mark Quillen is going to have his guys so fired up to get the season off to a good start. I like the Blue Jays.
Trey, you've been around Mark Quillen before and his energy. Tell us about this game.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Marty here. I like what they're doing down there in Seaford. They had a lot of positives last year. They were starting to get some wins. They were reviving the program, and they're having fun doing it. And I like hearing that they're gonna have more fun, throw the ball around. I love the energy from Coach. I agree. I don't know much about Colonel Richardson either. Sounds like they're a tough team. Sounds like they have the ability to slow that offense down that we're expecting from Seaford, but I agree with you too as well. You too, Dad. I think the spread is going to do it for Seaford. I like Seaford here.
One thing I can tell you about Colonel Richardson, you'll like Trey. Their nose guard, 285-pound state runner-up last year for the Colonel, so you can relate to that.
Yeah.
Let's go to our final go. One more thing about Seaford. Made the playoffs last year, Marty, and then this year, 50-plus kids out for football. And if you go back and look at their schedule on Website for Sports, go back and look at the years that they were playing 4 o'clock and 5 o'clock games on Thursday. Go look at this year's 7 o'clock Friday night. Mark Quillen has changed things down there. So let's move to our game of the week. Friday night, 7 p.m. We'll have this on 302 Sports, Thursday night, 7 p.m. The number 1 ranked defending state champions in single A, Laurel Bulldogs, are headed to Sussex Tech to take on the Ravens. Sussex Tech came on late last year. In the Class A playoffs, I think they started the season 1-3, won 5 of the last 6, made the playoffs, and lost a tough evening game up at Tower Hill last year. Coach Brad Ellensworth, he has to replace 17 seniors, lost to graduation, but he's got Jaron Sample back, a hard-running running back. He's going to have to carry the Ravens as they develop that talent again. I kind of see this coming for Tech as they're moving some guys around. They've got athletes down there. But, again, they're moving another kid from wide receiver to quarterback like they did last year. Andy. And they're going to be around at the end of the season because they're just going to continue to grow like they did last year. I watched Laurel at the scrimmage with Sussex Central and Parkside. Guys, Bulldogs haven't skipped a beat since winning the Class A title. They are big. They're fast. That defense is tenacious. And Laurel gets the win here to start the season off and continue their role in single A.
I think Laurel, I said on our podcast this past week, I think Laurel would possibly vie for a top 4 spot in the next class up in Class 2A. I think I agree, they are loaded. Sussex Tech, this game, they played last year, the first game of the season. The game shocked me because I expected it to be a real tough, tight game. Laurel blew them off the field. It was 14-8 at halftime, and then Laurel, just the floodgates, 27-0 in the second half. And that really served notice to the whole state because they never took their foot off the gas the rest of the way, all the way through the title game when they beat my St. E Vikings. So I love Caden Shockley. Fun to watch. Last year in this game, 7 of 10, 191, 3 touchdowns. He's only going to get better. As you said, Sussex Tech ended the season as one of the hottest teams in the state, winning 5 of 6, and then kind of inexplicably they went up to Tower Hill and they just could not get anything going there. Tower Hill had a real stout defense. I did not know that Handy was moving to quarterback. That's interesting. I know he was the all-district wide receiver last year, so that's going to give them a little bit more versatility as well, running the spread option, things like that. Sample is a beast. He's going to be the guy that stirs the drink for them, as you said. I like Laurel. I just think they're far and away the class of the Class 1A level.
I was there tomorrow speaking of Shockley and getting some pictures of some kids from upcoming games, and he's a much bigger kid now, built like a linebacker. So I mean, he probably become more
nice.
durable running the game, running the ball. Trey,
Right.
Dogs and the Ravens. You're going to be there on Thursday night.
So I'll be videoing it. Yeah, this is a great game. I was really impressed with Tech last year. They continued to improve, and they're well coached. They had some really great games, and they got really hot. But like the point was made, they lost 17 seniors, and that I mean that's tough to rebound. You're going into a week 1 game with a hot Laurel. I mean, defending state champ Laurel, who, like you said in the scrimmage, hasn't skipped a beat. I like Laurel here. That defense last year was just tough. I mean, they stuffed people and they got their offense the ball back. So let's go Laurel.
Yeah, Marty, I was at that Tower Hill Tech game last year. I covered it for the paper side of Delaware Live Sports, and so I was, down on the sidelines, which I'm not there a lot. And the hitting between those two teams last year was something to watch, especially because if you remember, there was a lot of goal line stands in that game.
Yes, there were. Yep.
And so they both teams hit, and that's what they're going to do. So, folks, those are our week 1 picks. How's Marty going to hold up to the rest of the crowd down the line as we'll have a different picker each week? And, Marty, tell us a little bit. I know you've rebranded your Delaware High School Football Pod. Tell us a little bit about that. When does the show drop each week?
Yeah, we were Delaware Sports Debate all of last season and the season before. We've kind of messed around with names a little bit. Real podcast out there that covers exclusively high school football in Delaware. So we wanted to just kind of take ownership of that. The way 302 Sports has kind of taken ownership of high school football over the airwaves as far as streaming these games. We want to be for the podcasting side what you guys are for the visual side. So we want to highlight teams and players every week, but we want to focus all our energy in that instead of trying to spread it across different sports, which because it's you're able to do that because you've got the nice crew there. But it's so nice to see. And again, yeah, it's the Delaware High School Football Podcast. Our shows are going to drop every Sunday around noon. John Busby and myself. And it's a great time to be a football fan in Delaware. You guys at 302 Sports have been doing this for, I think, 6-7 years now. It's been a while. I will say that there's some issues everywhere. Where there's never an issue is in a Benny Mitchell production on the downstate broadcasts. You guys, I love the broadcast down there. You have all the sponsors for the red zone, the touchdowns. It's such a fun game to watch. So if you're a fan out there, tune in and watch these guys, father and son, part of the production team also. And it's just a great experience. And 302 does a great job of covering high school sports. So here, and we tend to be very complimentary of each other because we're both looking for the same thing. We want to promote high school sports in Delaware.
Yeah, we've found a way to, without actually trying to intertwine together, and it's really been a fun thing to do because
it has. It's been great.
It used to be, I would see where John would post a link to the podcast on Sunday, and I go, oh yeah, now I'm on Sunday. I'm checking Facebook or Twitter every. Listen to the podcast. You guys do a really good job, and you bring up a lot of great topics. And it's not just scores and predictions. You guys go deep into some things in football, and it's sometimes is where I get my insight because I don't have the pulse about with downstate. But Marty, thank you for coming on, folks. The Delaware High School Football Pod is where they are. Best way for me to get it off Twitter or Facebook. One of these two guys, him or John Busby, will share the link, and then you can listen to it. It's a really great thing to listen to. I think you're also on YouTube too, aren't you?
Yes, we are. Yep.
So thanks, Marty. Guys, tune in on this weekend. We have a slate of games going on this weekend. Check out this each week as we'll have a different guest picker. Let's see how they all do against one another. Again, thanks, Marty. Thanks, Trey. For 302 Sports, I'm Benny Mitchell. Folks, have a good weekend.